The Vatican police, they're the most highly trained fighting force in the world.
Better than Magnum Force?
The Vatican has their own police force, better than Magnum Force, yeah. Better equipment, better training. The Vatican police, trust me, look it up.
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to another great episode of the Puffs with Peter podcasts. Once again, a great thanks to all the loyal Peter Puffers out there. Tonight on the show, we have the one and only Matt Poole from Unapologetically Catholic, a great Instagram page that you can find. He's one of the greats out there, I'd say. Definitely blows my subscriber and follower count out of the water. Matt, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for coming on the TradTards. I really appreciate you taking it up on my offer. And yeah, feel free, introduce yourself however you please.
Yeah. Thanks. I'm more than happy to be on. It's an honor to be called one of the better ones, I guess, on Instagram. So it's funny because I'm a convert to the Catholic faith. I came into the church in 2022. But I had this long journey of like studying the Catholic faith for 8 years or something like that before I came in. Because the church I grew up in was like, all Catholics are going to hell. All Catholics who know what they believe, they're all heretics, and there's no way they're making it to heaven. So I think out of like fear mostly, I kind of was like, I don't know, there's something to this Catholicism thing. Studied for a long time, had all this head knowledge, and I was like, maybe I should put some of this knowledge to use and share it. So it's like share it on the internet, So it started as an audio only podcast, and then I thought, well, I've got to make an Instagram page because that's just the natural progression, I guess, is what I assumed. And then I kind of I stumbled upon making memes, and I think that's where a lot of the followers came from. And then I've kind of moved away from that a little bit, for better or for worse. I don't know. I don't do it nearly as much. Every once in a while, I'll post one. But there's like Catholicism, Brian. He's like he's the king of Catholic memes. And so I was like, I'm not going to compete with guys like that. So, yeah, I feel like most of my followers now are disappointed because they're like, man, we followed you because you're a meme page, and now you're not a meme page anymore. So, but the whole goal of like the podcast, the YouTube channel, Instagram, all of that is, and in my YouTube videos, in my intro, I'll always say that I'm unapologetically Catholic and think you should be too. So really the whole goal is like, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, non-religious, whoever you are, I really genuinely think you should be unapologetically Catholic. So I kind of want to share the faith through like my experience and what I've learned, because it's almost like I found like a treasure chest, it's like, man, this is like all the graces that can be found in the church and the beauty of the Catholic faith and the reverence and tradition and everything else that I love about the Catholic faith. It's like, why would I not want everybody else to be a part of this? So that's how this whole thing came about. That's how I kind of ended up where I am.
Oh, that's an awesome story. I mean, I'm always happy to speak to other Southern Catholics because we have a unique experience. I'd say some Protestants, they're just kind of there's not as much maybe like animosity against Catholics. They're just like, oh well, it's just how it is. And then some are, and especially when I grew up, at least in the South. It was, yeah, like people tell me, "You're not Christian," all these, horrible things. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, as,
Yeah.
as a kid, I'd go and hang out at the Baptist church. They have amazing potlucks and stuff. And
Yep.
it didn't seem too crazy different. I was like, okay, like there's some commonality here. There's like a shared culture. But no, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm Catholic. And it would just be like,
Bruh.
you know,
Yeah.
everything changes. They're like, oh my God, are you saved? I'm like, what? What do you mean? I was like, yeah, I'm baptized. They're like, no, that's not what I mean. Yeah, that caused a lot of confusion, but yeah, no, it's an interesting experience for us, as I'm certain you're well aware.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been very interesting. So like when I go out to restaurants and stuff, or go out to eat, like I'll make the sign of the cross when I eat. And there's been a handful of times where like I open my eyes and somebody's kind of looking over at you, like, what are you doing? Because I live in a very country area down south. Like I don't live really near any major cities or anything like that. So I feel like for me, like if I was in a major city, it might be a little bit different, because there's a lot in the major cities, wherever there's going to be a lot more Catholics as it is. But you kind of start getting out to the country a little bit, and it's not nearly as common. But there's a fair amount. I think it's probably 50-50. There's half the people are like angry against Catholics and think we're awful, terrible heretics, and then the other half are just kind of like, yeah, I don't know, they kind of weird. I'm not going to be a Catholic, but I don't know. I don't know though. There seems to be a pretty decent shift. So I help with OCIA at my parish. And the last 3 years in a row, just about, the people who've signed up has nearly doubled. So we went from like 13 to last year was 27, and this year we've got like 43 or 44 people signed up.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's wild. There's and most of those people are most of them are evangelical Protestants. There's a couple of like high church Protestant folks that are there. Um, I don't know. I'm happy to see the shift. I don't know what it is, but uh, I'll take it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen some statistics that the number of people entering the church has increased pretty drastically in the past few years. Obviously, I think COVID was such a lightning rod for a lot of people,
Yeah.
and for everything. I think COVID was just everything got turned on its head, and people really took the time to be like reevaluating their life, what was meaningful for them, and what better way to reevaluate that than taking a long hard look at one's own religious practices, maybe taking the time to study a little bit more about the history of their church or just Christianity in general. I do think it's interesting we're seeing that increase, and I'm happy to hear another positive anecdote. And what's interesting too is I wanted to say earlier, like, yeah, the interesting experience of being a Catholic in the South, but imagine being like Orthodox in the South. You're like a
Yeah.
rare animal that they do not know of.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, you must be Russian or Greek, if they even have that inclination at all.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
but apparently they've also experienced a lot of growth in just the past few years as well.
Yeah. I can remember as a Protestant, like growing up, I was a teenager. I probably 18 or something like that. I worked at a Zaxby's. That was my first job, and one of the managers there was I think she was Greek Orthodox. She was Orthodox, and when I had always known about Catholicism, my aunts and uncles and cousins, they were all like, most of my mom's side of the family, they were all Catholic growing up, so I was super familiar with that. But she said Orthodox, and I was like, I don't even, because I was really into apologetics even as a teenager. So I would be like, oh yeah, you Catholics, I'm gonna, you guys worship Mary like this. I got this one in the bag, and I was kind of a cocky teenager, but I was like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I don't even know what do you believe? Like what does orthodox mean? But there's one other guy that I know who lives down south who's Orthodox, and I'm friends with him now. And it's funny to hear his experience. I was joking with somebody not long ago that was kind of asking, oh well, did you ever consider Orthodoxy before becoming Catholic? And I was like, well, I kind of briefly, but the case for the papacy just to me it seemed obvious enough that I just thought I don't like there's no reason for me to spend a ton more time looking at this because there's absolutely a case for the papacy
Oh yeah.
and it's I just remember saying, man, like if I would have converted to orthodoxy, it would have been 100 times easier because it would have been just that same thing. Like I just go tell people, yeah, I'm Orthodox, and then go, oh, okay, I guess. Do you believe Jesus is God? Yeah, we believe that. All right, well, I guess you're cool, but Catholics, we don't have it that easy.
Yeah, it's like the apostolic succession without the cultural baggage being Catholic is in some parts of America, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it is something new. The Orthodox, granted, obviously I guess, the Russian Orthodox Church might be slightly an exception to the rule. They never place as much of an emphasis on like far-flung missionary activity, I guess, throughout history. And then obviously the Orthodox Church as a whole, lost a little bit of its mojo when a little thing called the Bolshevik Revolution happened, at least in, a lot of what was the, Imperial Russia, the area of that. So that also stymied some efforts. So it's interesting now we're finally seeing like some of that. And a lot of that's due to there's been that large influx of converts. The only reason I'm bringing this up over the weekend, I was at a Orthodox Church of America for a friend's wedding, and it wasn't the first Eastern nuptial liturgy I'd attended, but it was very interesting in the fact that it wasn't. This was all This was in Virginia, and almost everyone there, well, by and large, outside of a few, were mainly converts to Orthodoxy. A lot of the priests were converts to Orthodoxy, whether that be from Protestant or Orthodox backgrounds, and it was unique in the fact that I had never seen an Orthodox church that wasn't always there was always some ethnic immigrant community tied to it, whether it be Greek, Bulgarian, Russian, you name it, all the different ethnies that there's big Orthodox populations. We're seeing a lot of change, I think, across the entirety of the traditional Christian churches, and what I mean, you're on the front line, it sounds, for some of that, for the, even just the mainstream Catholic Church.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a big shift. And I I don't know. I will say I do think one thing that has a lot to do with it, especially this year, and I've heard it being in OCIA, is some people are saying, I had never really considered Catholicism. It was always there. I don't know. Like I was aware of it, but I just never really considered it. But now having the first American Pope ever, I I don't know. It was all over the news. It was all people were talking about there for a while, and still kind of is, but not as much. The newness is kind of starting to fade a little bit. But they just said I never thought about it. Now we have an American Pope, so it caused me to do some digging, and I feel like once you start down the rabbit hole, there's no stopping. You know?
Yeah, like that is an interesting point. Yeah, we had a very Catholic news cycle for a hot minute there. Um,
Yeah.
I remember doing a live stream myself when the results came in, and it was interesting. I was like, I heard Robertum, and I freaked out, and then it was like Provost, and I was like, what? Who? And I was like, wait, the one American cardinal? And I was like, what? Like this? Because I saw like one mention of him, and I was like, oh, that guy? And I was like, oh, great. Of course, there's like I can't find anything about him. There wasn't a lot of info early on. I'm like, well, we'll see. Yeah, and I guess it makes sense, right? First thing people are doing is in the run up. Oh, how's the Pope elected,
Yep.
right? What is the history of the popes? Like what were the other Leos like? Things like that, and then probably, oh, I have this question, and I think maybe too. I don't know if you remember some of these news reports or maybe this was just like Twitter threads people are sending to me. I don't have a Twitter, but I have friends who are very active on it. Apparently, ChatGPT and some of the other AIs, they are very pro-Catholic for whatever reason. When you start asking about like church history or like Marian dogmas, they're like super insanely like. I've seen these messages again. AI can be very biased towards the
Yeah.
user. Did you remember seeing any of that? I wonder if people were like typing in like, "What is the true Christian church?" and ChatGPT is like, obviously Catholicism.
Yeah. I saw something not long ago where it was on Twitter. I have a Twitter, but I don't ever get on there. But it's the same thing like you. Like I have friends who use it religiously and they're on there like all of the time. And so they'll send me some things. And there was like I think the guy was Baptist or Southern Baptist. And he asked, I think Grok is like the AI thing for Twitter. I feel like I sound like a 95-year-old man. Like I'm only 30. I feel like I should know about this stuff, but
They're grok them kids use
yeah,
these days.
that's right. But some asked like prove that the Baptist church was the original church or something, and it just was like, no, wrong. It's not, And yeah,
No,
so
the
I
Trail of
just
Blood theory, it's obviously real. All of
yeah,
those heretical movements are actually Baptists in disguise.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jesus established the Baptist church and then it disappeared for like 1500 years and then it popped back up. So, that's absolutely how it worked. And that's why you can't find any history on it either, because the Baptist church, they went underground and there was just, yeah, that's right. There was a select few that knew. And that's why there's no writings. No one from antiquity agreed with like most, not most, some of the funky stuff that Baptists believe, because it was all underground. The truth remained, just wasn't in it wasn't in the light.
Yeah. Just like those golden plates that Joseph Smith dug up, just same thing. It's not
Yeah,
happening. It's just
yeah, it's funny because like I did who was it? Mike Winger put something out about Mormonism where he was kind of talking about like, oh well, you have this guy who comes up with these plates thousands of years after, or 1,000+ years, close to 2,000 years after Jesus established the church, and Mormons will say, oh well, Jesus established the church and then it went underground. Same kind of thing. And then Joseph Smith, he didn't start something new. He just rediscovered something that was always there all along. He just brought it back to the light. And then the reel that I did, this is going back quite a while ago, but it was, I was just saying, it's funny because like Protestantism is very similar that some of the time, sometimes Protestants will say, no, that's, we can prove from history that it was always around. But some people, like the church I grew up in, would say, yeah, no, well, heresies and things cropped up really early. I mean, all you have to do is look at the Old Testament, look at how often they got things wrong, and how quickly they, from the prophets would tell them something and it wouldn't, but one generation and they're getting things wildly wrong. So the same thing happened, but then thank God for Martin Luther, because he didn't start something new. He just rediscovered the truth that was there all along. And I was kind of like, the more I thought through it, I was like, that sounds like a lot like the claim that Mormons make, that church kind of went underground for a long time and then somebody rediscovered it. And so the church, Protestant church, quote unquote, went underground for a long time, and then Martin Luther just rediscovered it. It's like, I don't know. It didn't. The promise of Jesus of like the gates of hell will not prevail against the church is, I don't know. I don't know that those
also
two jive.
even under the theory that the church fell into error, like, and the one thing I like to ask always is like, okay, like, can you tell me when that happens? Like, at what point did the visible Catholic Church just like completely go off the rails, and then it was like, the true faith was this underground practice? They can't tell you. All of the objections to the most common Catholic practices are things that like were there in the first century, if not during the time of like at least the Acts of the Apostles, right? I mean, like, just in the couple decades after Christ's ascension back into heaven. I mean, this is like all things that are established. I mean, you can look at the Orthodox just as an example of you know, with them only splitting off in 1054, but just the amount of similarity, at least in regarding ecclesial structure and the clergy, there's obviously a point of continuity there. And it also wouldn't make any sense that, Martin Luther was working with, all the things that he had available as a member of the Catholic clergy. Like, he was the only member of the church that ever like acted in good faith, trying to figure out like what the faith actually was. But I mean, we could go on this all day. I will say though, if there's one thing that we've discovered that has discovered, the true version of a faith, obviously, Catholic Palooza, which we both did not attend, rediscovered that Catholics can listen to secular music and it doesn't have to ruin Christianity or music.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Man, I did want to be there. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I
you would have gotten
gotta
arrested like me.
I know, dude. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie. You had me going for like weeks. I remember like messaging people and I was saying, dude, I think like there's some kind of beef here. What is going on? And so being a convert, like I know there's a lot of like lore and there's a lot of like little micro drama within the Catholic world, and I don't understand any of this stuff. Like I'm kind of like I don't know. I was gonna say golden retriever, but I don't want to make myself look dumb. But like the guy who's just kind of like, man, I'm happy to be here, and everybody else is like fighting and bumping heads, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but like, cool, I guess. But then I saw that you were posting all this stuff about like, oh, I'm not allowed at Catholic Palooza, and I was like, oh shoot, what happened? Like, what in the world is going on here? And then I remember you posted the thing on Instagram like I've been arrested, and and then the like this is his wife taking over his account while he's in jail. And I remember I sent Brian a message and I was like, dude, what is happening? Like, what is Brian from Catholicism? And I was like, did he actually get arrested or like what is happening? And he's like, no. And I think it was just a few hours after I messaged him, or maybe it was the next day or something. Then you posted your YouTube video, which is excellent, by the way. It was great. I laughed so hard for so long. So that was, I don't know, the greatest, like longest setup ever. It was great.
Well, I'm happy you got a lot of enjoyment out of it. I had a lot of fun making the video, and it's crazy what AI can make. And then if you just take an AI image and just slightly modify it so it takes away some of the more identifiable aspects, it can look pretty convincing. All those
Yeah.
images of me getting, taken away in cuffs or, getting put into a police car, that was all AI. And yeah. I was trying to like do it organically because I'm like, I don't want to post this because then it won't be believable. Right. So I was trying to get other people. So I had I had a buddy of mine posted on Twitter and it didn't really get that good of a response. So I was like, okay. And then I was trying to get one of my friends to post it on Instagram and share it. And that didn't happen. So I was like, okay, I have to go with I got arrested already. This is my wife posting this. And then the response was insane. I had people were messaging me like I had to call up some friends and be like, no, I am fine. If you're not familiar, in Richmond, Virginia, there's a AA baseball team, and they actually were playing. They're playing a team from down south, funnily enough. But I was at that game instead. I was at the Flying Squirrels game, like posting this meme. Having a beer, watching the Squirrels unfortunately get beat. But I was like calling up friends, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not arrested. I'm fine. Give this like 48 hours. There'll be a whole thing."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really wanted to be there. And I could have gone as an attendee. There's not really any beef. The problem was I wanted to go up there. It's New Jersey's a drive. I wanted to have a table, and kind of be there as TradTards, and I wanted to have some merch, and we also had a newsletter we had made, a little magazine. I wanted to have some copies of that, and just be there and support. But the name, unfortunately, was not considered, I guess, family friendly enough for the event, so I couldn't be there. So the next best thing was, faking my arrest and criminal record that I have yet to actually make. But it was fun. It was fun to be there digitally, and I think it actually did generate some good publicity for Catholic Palooza, which I think is a positive.
Yeah, I think so. You got me talking about it with a handful of people. I was like, man, I don't know what's going on, but like there's something for sure going on. But that's funny. And your AI images, they you fooled me for sure. And maybe this goes back to like my grandpa-esqueness as a 30-year-old, but I don't know. It seemed pretty believable. But I guess like most of the time I'm not like doing a lot of investigative work when I see something online that's I mean, maybe if it's something more serious, I'm going to look into it a little bit more,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, some kind of crazy news thing. I don't know. Maybe I'll dig into it a little bit more. But I was like, I just saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy got arrested at Catholic Palooza. That's wild. And then and like I keep going. And so like that quick, just seeing that thing real quick, I was like, oh gosh, like he wasn't playing around. Like I thought he was joking, but like, no, he's serious. And then all to find out a day or two later, whatever it was, that it was a joke. If you didn't get anybody else, you got me, and you got me like really, really, really good. So
Well, I guess this says more about myself, that it's very plausible that it would, that I could have actually gotten arrested, that it was very believable. That scenario, like when
yeah.
confronted with somebody, like, hey, like TradTards, Anthony got arrested, they'd be like, oh, well, yeah, that totally could have happened. I see it. Like, wow, I can't believe they actually did it. But no, I'm hoping to have another one. They were saying that this was the last one, which I hope was not the case.
Yeah.
And that also compelled me as well. I was like, well, if I'm going to make this joke, this is it.
Yeah, now's the time.
Yeah, luckily I didn't burn any bridges. They thought I was in good faith and
Good.
funny, which that was my intention. So I'm happy about that. Um,
Yeah.
could you actually imagine though being like, you're in you're in a holding cell, and, some dude's like arrested. Some guy's next to you had like 20 grams on him or something. He's like, "What are you in for?" I'm like, "I got arrested from the Catholic secular music festival known as Catholic Palooza."
Yeah.
And like, the
Oh,
other guy just kind of scoots away on the bench a little bit. He's like, "I don't know what that is."
yeah. Like, I don't know whether to be worried or concerned or,
Yeah.
like, just beat you up, you know? Like, I feel like it would be one extreme or the other. There would be no
Yeah.
I feel like there would be no in between. Like, it would yeah. That'd be hilarious.
But I mean, the next year, I hope it's not. I don't know. It might be in New Jersey again. They seem to like that venue. It was in Richmond one year. I think the
Okay.
inaugural year, and I wasn't able to go. I was busy. So
Uh,
hoping on next year. I don't know. Maybe it'll be
yeah.
somewhere a little further down south, because you know, New Jersey. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, that's a haul from where I am. But if they bring it further down south, I might could go. I also Uh, so part of the reason I didn't go is because I have a very large family. So between my wife and I, we have 5 kids, one on the way, and then my niece, she's 17 and a half, and she lives with us as well. So we're a family of 9. So I got a really big family, and I travel some for work. So to travel for like fun events is a lot harder for me to do. But I also will not fly under any circumstances. So, and I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, I have a very wildly irrational fear of airplanes. In the type of work that I do, I work I'm in sales, so I sell to aviation manufacturers and people fixing airplanes and stuff. So I've seen like they go into a ton of very meticulous detail whenever they're working on planes, and you would think that it would help, but it doesn't. And so there's been a handful. Like I've driven 12-hour drives. I don't know, 3 or 4 different times for work,
wow.
just because I won't get in an airplane. It is I don't know what it is, but it is the one, and I recognize it's fully irrational. It makes no sense. I've flown on a plane once, and it was fine. It was probably the smoothest flight anybody could ask for. But it's just something about being 30,000 feet in the air in a giant metal tube with like a ton of electronics, and like possible flashpoints with very flammable fluid that just I don't know. If I had a way, if I could choose how to go out, it would not be from 30,000 feet in the air in a giant metal tube. So I don't know.
Yeah. Do you like roller coasters?
Not really, but not because like I have a fear of it or anything. I would do it, but it's just not something that I like. If somebody had said, "Hey, I'm going to buy your ticket to this theme park or whatever, and I want you to come with me," I would go and I would go get on them, but I wouldn't spend my own money to do it because I don't know. I just wouldn't. It's so weird. I don't know where this came from, and I don't know why I am the way that I am, but I am the way that I am, I guess. So
Well, Matt, I have a great idea for a collab in the future. There's this great hobby called skydiving. I think it
yeah,
will combine the best of what you fear about, because you're not actually flying, you're just falling. It's
that's
different. You're not
right.
in the plane, so there's no fear, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
man. You may be onto something. I think because then okay, this might be how I cure my fear because like if I jump out of an airplane and parachute down and then I'm fine, then anytime I get in a plane again, I could just be like, you remember that one time you jumped out and you're still alive, so just do it again. Actually, funny enough, my dad, he has he's been skydiving 4 times, 3 to 5
oh
times,
wow,
something like that. Yeah, so
yeah,
for the very first time, he went with a friend and he jumped and he got down and he was like, "That was the greatest thing ever. I loved it. That was so much fun." And his friend was like, "No, never again. I did it once. I am never doing that again." And my dad asked the pilot, or I think he was talking to the pilot and he was like, "Dude, this was so great. This was so much fun." And the pilot had a cancellation or something like that. There was some kind of reason why he had to go back up anyways.
oh,
And he was like, "If you want to come back up, if you want to go again, like I'll let you go again for free." And my dad was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that." So he went skydiving twice, and then I think he signed up like one other time, like a separate later date. He did a third time, but yeah,
that's impressive. Wow.
yeah, he
It's something
loved
I've
it.
always wanted to do. I mean, big props to your dad. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, not me.
Jeez. You said you're a convert, and my wife is too. I think she converted. That was the year. It was 2023. So
Okay.
y'all were almost in the same cohort. But you know, as you mentioned, coming in, it can almost be like walking. I'm cradle, but I think still like with me, like a lot of people, getting more active in their faith later in life relative. Um, I especially got more active like during college, but sometimes it can feel like you're walking into a house and there's like a fire going on and people are like beating each other up and you're just like what's happening? I thought like this was going to be some cool house where we could all hang out together and be best friends. Have you run into people that I don't know, just like are so far off the deep end?
I don't know. There's been a handful of different groups that I don't know that I've heard of some like real weird craziness. I don't think I've seen it like personally. Um I think the most interesting to date, and I don't like not in a negative sense, but like again, I feel like I'm gonna sound like I have no clue what I'm talking about. But like the Catholic Groiper movement, like the guys who like Nick Fuentes kind of
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
big fans of him.
S-
Yeah,
Yeah, so I've that's an interesting group. I and for like that kind of stuff, I think there's some solid arguments there. And then but like I think it's the same with most everything else though. I look at something and I'm like, yeah, there's a number of they've got some really solid points, and then they say some other things, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I don't necessarily agree with that, but there's some weird. Like I've just noticed some real weird beef. People online, and maybe this is the problem. Is like when people are just talking to other account handle or like Instagram names, it's so much easier to just go, oh, that person is completely bad, like they're completely wrong. That group is just totally awful. And I think any side of a coin on any kind of subject can be this way. But I don't know. It's like that. You realize that's another human being, probably, most likely. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's always bot accounts. But
The
like,
dead internet theory is,
yeah,
I don't know. It's an interesting theory that I sometimes am afraid of, but it's yet to be fully proven.
yeah, yeah. Like there, there's things like that, and then I kind of get what Catholic Inc. is. I've heard of this, and I like hear some real negative stuff about it, and then I hear some people who are like, "Oh, just leave them alone." And I don't really know. I think this kind of goes back to like I don't really know what's going on. I just know I like sharing about the faith. I'm just happy to be here. I don't really know technically where I fall into. Like, I don't know what group I guess I'd fall into. And I don't know that anybody's really concerned enough about me to like put me into a group. Maybe people do. I don't know. If they do, I'm completely oblivious to it, and that's totally fine with me. Uh, but yeah, I've seen but I think having these now there's some groups that's like, okay, well you clearly are taking it a little too far. Like you're going against scripture or church teaching or both. And so you can't call yourself a Catholic and then just go blatantly against what the church teaches. But outside of that, I don't know. I really appreciate the like difference of opinions because I think it's good. Like I'll talk to people that I disagree to because I think maybe they or disagree with because maybe they have a perspective or something that I don't know. Not that I'm like the type of person that's going to just flop with every blow of the wind. But I don't know. You never know. Like I'll listen to somebody and then at the end of the day I'll go, yeah, no, that's bogus. I'm not listening to that. Or, oh, well, yeah, you make a valid point. Maybe I need to look into that more. That's how I became Catholic. Uh, because yeah, I had a friend that converted and he would like I had my preconceived notion of what Catholics were and what they believed. And then he would come back and he would say, no, we don't actually worship Mary, or no, we don't re-crucify Christ at the Mass, or we don't believe in a works-based salvation. And so then from talking to him, I kind of thought, well, I don't know, maybe there's something to this. I need to dig into it more. And then I did, and then I'm super glad I did because now now I'm in the church because of it. So I don't know. I kind of try to apply that same mentality when it comes to most other areas in life, while still like there's some beliefs that are like this is a core belief, and I'm not folding on. Like I know that's right. So yeah.
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's interesting too, like even what can come out of just good discourse, what you can especially learn. Um, even if you don't agree with somebody, they'll probably bring up something that you didn't know about that you can then research and get a better, grasp on, or, maybe a different perspective, as you mentioned. And, we've had all sorts of guests on here, people that we've had Protestants, we have Orthodox, obviously a lot of Catholics from, different, I guess, a wide range of the Catholic world, as, some of the groups that you mentioned. Catholic Inc. is always an interesting one. Yeah, because it can be hard to define. I guess it gets.
Hmm.
I know that you are a brand ambassador for Catholic Answers. Some I think would say that's not Catholic Inc. But I mean I know it's not as simple as that, right? It's Catholic Answers is a big org, and there's it's not like one person. But I mean, what's your time been working with them? I mean, I know that they got rid of the creepy AI priests. I applaud them on that decision.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. No,
that
I
was
mean,
odd.
yeah, yeah. It was a little bit. I mean, hey, I guess you tried something new, and but I will say, like, I think you got to give like I think for somebody to try something and then recognize like it may not be a good idea, and then make changes from that, like super. I think for nothing else, like just being willing to say, "Yep, we need to not do that anymore." That's solid.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a ton of interaction with Catholic Answers. I mean, I can. I'm hoping to do some interviews soon with some of their apologists. Joe Heschmeyer is probably my favorite of everybody there. He seems super solid, and I really like. I mean, I've not watched everything of his, and I've not listened to everything or read every book, but all of the stuff that I've read or watched or listened to of his, it's all been like really solid. I got invited to the Catholic Answers conference, but that's all the way out in California, and so
Oh,
I can't go to the other side, literally the other side of the country from where I'm at. But no, it's been neat. I don't know. It's not like I don't get a paycheck or anything like that from
yeah.
you know. Uh, but I get books, so that's cool because I've gotten some books from them. Like I get to do reels that they will share and stuff like that. So I've enjoyed it. Um, I don't know. And for me, it also really neat because coming up, like I said, I had a lot of preconceived notions about what Catholics believed, and the friend of mine that converted, his name's Chad. Uh, he was very like I would ask him questions and he would give me a little bit, but then a lot of times he would say, like, here's this article or here's this book. You need to go do this research on your own. Because if you come into the Catholic faith, like I want you, this is going to be because you dug this out, not just because I spoon fed you the answers and you're just doing what I told you to do, which I really appreciate. So he would send me a lot of Catholic Answers articles, and I called into their radio show a number of times. They really were for me as a Protestant who didn't know anything about the Catholic faith. They were really a solid organization, good resource that I relied on a ton. So to be a brand ambassador for them now is like I I don't know. It's really cool. It's like a full circle moment kind of. So
Yeah, and I applaud, most of their work I think is really good. I use their, service a lot, especially when I'm just starting from ground zero. They give pretty good citations and sources. It's been great. And Scheinhorn, his book, Why We're Catholic.
mm,
Not, obviously I already was Catholic, but I think it is a really good, especially if someone that is already in the faith wants to kind of like look at some really good apologetical reasoning starting out, or if they want to recommend a book to someone interested in the faith. Maybe some people in more of my circles would like get all hot and bother me saying this. Like it's a good book objectively, and I would
yeah.
recommend it as a tool for such. I don't agree with trying everything, but I think by and large he's made some pretty good products, and you can't argue with that, especially when it's just very solid. It's a good, easy read. It's very solid, and it's just one of the many things that have come out of CA. Although I don't know if I'd ever get invited to their conference. Maybe I should go as you. I'll just, I'll
Hey,
be like, oh, it's me. It's me, unapologetically Catholic. Don't mind the three-hole mask. It's
that's right.
totally me.
Yeah, I just when you look at people on the internet, when you meet them in real life, they can look so different. So that's all it is. I
Yeah.
got you, man.
Yeah, I mean the real reason I wear the mask is I just don't want my viewer base to know I'm black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
That's right.
that'd be really, yeah. I mean some people would just like freak out, so I just so I
Yeah,
wear the mask.
it's better to
Yeah,
keep it all concealed anyways, you know what I mean?
mhm.
I might be wearing a mask.
That's true.
So,
I don't think so. Wait, you've never done an interview in that same room, so like it's always been you could just be like an AI, like a little augmented reality thing.
I was gonna say AI's come a long way, man. So
This
I
whole
don't know.
podcast episode was AI generated, actually. If you're listening to this, none of this is real. Um,
That's right. Yeah. It
Simulation
all
theory.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's actually only 2 people on the internet and everybody else, and it's not me. I'm not one of the real ones. So
Yeah. Well, it's you and the government agent assigned to you.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. But
I mean, there's no way I know. But
yeah,
yeah, I will say, I mean, we're almost at at time here. This was really a lot of fun. You know, like I said, I'm very very happy that you wanted to come on, and I appreciate that you're willing to talk to people from all across the spectrum. As the Catholic Palooza thing maybe exemplified, some people they don't like the name. Sometimes my humor can be a little edgy, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to talk to anybody, even non-Catholics, as long as they want to have a good conversation, and sometimes talk about the weird and wacky, because I think that's
yeah,
what makes sometimes our culture very interesting and fun. So Matt, please tell everyone about where they can find you, and what work you might have upcoming, and anything you want them to check out.
yeah, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at unapologetically Catholic Pod, and then on YouTube, if you look up unapologetically Catholic, I should pop up. But yeah, that's the 2 main places to keep up with me. Um, yeah, I like I said, I've got some ideas for interviews with some folks that I want to do in the future that I'm I'm excited about. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy making these videos and then these like short reels just sharing about the faith. So I don't know. I don't have any big projects or anything. I feel like I've been in a kind of like a maybe a creative lull. I don't know. I guess that's what you'd call it. I feel like I'm kind of just puttering along, but I'm excited to see what happens. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I fight against that, like what is it, imposter syndrome, where I feel like everybody else is doing the same thing. Like what more do I have to offer? But I don't know. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I enjoy it, and if for nothing else, like it's a good hobby for me that I really enjoy, and I hope other people get some value out of it. So I'm gonna continue to learn, continue to read, continue to research, and share what I know, and then share what I learn as well.
I think that's a super good outlook to have about content creation. Like it's at the end of the day, even if this doesn't net you anything, it's fun to do, and I like doing it because that's how I view it too. So no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe I will say, I think the creative slump, maybe it's just summer. That's what I would say.
Yeah, probably so. I'm getting better. I feel like I'm coming back out of it a little bit, which is nice. So I'm trying to I have a bad habit of like I'll be sitting like I'll be driving in the car or something and I'm like, "Man, that's a really good idea." Like I've not talked about that before and that, I remember being this kind of way. And so I really need to talk about like my experience through that and how that connects to like a truth of the faith or something. And then I completely forget by the time I end up getting where I need to go. And so, but I'm getting better at like writing things down. And I think talking to people helps kind of bring things up as well. So I always enjoy like people will send me DMs on Instagram. I'm not one of these. I hate when people act like there's some kind of superstar or some kind of like famous actor or actress or whatever, and they're too popular. I mean, I understand some people have so many people that follow them that there's no way they could respond, but I at least try to communicate with people at least somewhat. So I don't know. You can always send me a DM on Instagram if you want to. You and I talk back and forth. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I'm thinking, we gotta have like the Southern Catholic Creator Conference. Me,
Oh
you,
heck
and
yeah, dude.
Brian just like meet up somewhere. Like we'll go to Nashville, and
There you go.
that'll be fun. What's the place in Tennessee that has the Bass Pro Pyramid? That can be our meetup point.
Ooh,
That's in Memphis, actually, my bad. I think that's in
is
Memphis.
oh don't go there.
Yeah, that's I've heard. Only cool thing there is Graceland, and then like you still should probably carry a gun. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I've I've never been, but I've been to North Mississippi and it yeah, rough place. Not a good part of town.
Yeah, Mississippi, man. It's like the West Virginia of the Deep South.
It is.
Yeah,
It's a magical place for sure.
yeah. Not to say there's some great things with West Virginia. Just unfortunately, crippling poverty is it's a thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I on that very depressing note, Matt, thank you so much for coming on TradTards, dude. This is a lot of fun. It's been a little bit of a pause for me on the podcast side. Making the podcast, it's an effort, but this was a great conversation. It flowed really well, and thank you once again for coming on, everybody. For TradTards, as always, feel free to subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, Telegram, at TradTards. I will not make a Twitters, and I will not make a Discord. So for the people that I've asked, you can stop asking. And if someone has made one, it's not me. Also got the Substack up at Schneider and Logos. Feel free to check it out. A little bit more of like serious ramblings. Trying to work on another piece for end of September here. But thank you all so much for watching. And once again, Matt, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.